So over here is my greenhouse, and this is one of the things that I have been wanting to talk about for a while. I made a different version of this greenhouse, but it was not, so this is obviously a kit that I bought, but I first tried to build kind of a bootleg greenhouse out of stakes and like a tarp, and unfortunately it was not stable, and I really tried to make it work, but the elements would take it down each time I tried to improve it. So I ended up finding a kit that fit this space, and this is what I've got now. And I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So without further ado, let me get this unzipped. So this is in fact two greenhouses stitched together. It's the same kit, but I've just kind of folded the doors of these right and left sides of the two kind of into each other. And I need to reattach this part to the wall behind my reflector here, but so yes, I have this reflector here to kind of help maintain some light, because a lot of it gets cut down by having this here. And then this is where I have been experimenting with tropicals. So I've got my thermometer here, I've got another one on the other side. So I'm doing a lot of tropicals in here, and it's also kind of where I'm trying to rehabilitate some plants that have not done well. Like, I think these are dead, but I really gave them a chance and tried to save them. So I've killed some avocados in my time. It happens. I have some new avocados that are doing okay over here, but these ones I've been trying to rehabilitate, and I think they're gone at this point. But I don't like to give up on plants, you know. I like to try to save them if I can, but I think they're gone. So this is a peach that I grew from seed. These are apples that I grew from Granny Smith fruit. And these are some pomegranates that are kind of branching all over the place, going crazy. This is a star fruit that was doing great up until maybe a couple weeks ago, and its leaves died back, so not sure if it's dead. I don't think it is. I think it just got stressed out and couldn't hack it, so I'm waiting for that one to respond. And then these are, as I said, some avocados. These are ones I grew from seed. I may do some grafting onto these. Most of these are from Haas. This one's a reed. This one's a fuerte. Actually, I think this fuerte is one of the few plants that did not recover. They had some root rot issues, and I repotted them in some different soil, and they've responded really well to it. But I think that one was a little too far gone. So it is what it is. You learn from it, and you try not to make those mistakes in the future. This is a pecan that's responded really well to being repotted in better soil. That's a carob. This one is kind of suffering from some root rot as well. It may not recover. It is what it is. You do your best. This little guy that's falling over is a moringa. This is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I need to get a bigger stake for it, apparently. It's just falling over in the walkway. So, I've got some pretty hyper tropicals in this greenhouse. This is a breadfruit, which is not something you can grow in California generally, but it is so far been pretty happy in this greenhouse. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then over here I have some poinsettias that I've been rehabilitating, and they've really turned a corner here and come back, so I'm happy with that. These are, I believe these are jelly palms. I've talked about one that I have in my front yard, and these ones were not faring well outside the greenhouse, but so I recently moved them in, and we will see if they respond well to not having their leaves dried out so much, because I've kept having to clip off these leaves because they keep drying out. So here I have a lot of tropical seedlings that I am experimenting with. We got some jackfruit here, and these are going to need to be repotted soon as they make their way up towards the ceiling of the greenhouse. And then these are, I mentioned the breadfruit, I have a relative of it, the bread nut. So the breadfruit is a seedless version, and the bread nut has seeds. And these are pretty hyper tropicals that you'll find in island regions. So breadfruit is kind of a big deal for island regions and tropical regions because it's a really good food source. It really closes the gap on food scarcity in some of these regions. And I did a video about breadfruit as well, but I want to explore those topics more in the future. So I'm experimenting with growing them here in my greenhouse. And then next to it I have cacao, aka the chocolate tree. I have two varieties. I have a Trinitario in the back and a Criollo in the front. So the Criollo is the more wild one that is associated with higher quality chocolate. The problem is it's more sensitive to different growing conditions, and it dies easier. There's various things. I'm paraphrasing, but that it's less common for cheaper chocolate. It's more associated with more craft chocolates and gourmet chocolates and things like that. Trinitario, the other variety that I have, that is going to be more commonly used. And then another variety, Forastero, that's going to be more commonly used in the making of chocolate. You're not often going to see Criollo used in more commonly available chocolates. And then right here I'm growing more moringa. These guys really took off. This is my second kind of sowing of moringa. The first one didn't work out, but this one did, so I'm happy with that. Right here, you might not be able to see it, but I am trying out growing strawberries from seed for my first time, and I've got little guys popping up here, little tiny strawberry seedlings. So if they can make it, that'll be another interesting experiment. Below here I have some cuttings I'm killing. I did a lot of fig cuttings and I messed something up. I've had varying degrees of success with fig cuttings, and I think I just messed something up this time. I'm no master of doing cuttings, but that one in the back doing okay. This is a mulberry cutting. which is, this might be on the ropes here. These are some cherimoya seedlings that have been really tenacious. I kind of abandoned these in the side yard. I had like 30 or 40 cherimoya seedlings, and they were just pretty much unkillable. I say unkillable to a point. They were kind of struggling along for months and months and months with little to no water or care, and I finally decided to revisit them. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had those over there. So I took the best of the best and repotted them, and I'm actually trying to do something with them at this point. And some of them died, so I do have the remnants of those really hardy seedlings that survived being pretty much abandoned. So we'll see how these turn out as they grow. I have some more avocados that I'm growing from pit, and some rambutan and lychee that haven't sprouted yet. Over here I have some mangoes and papaya. Papaya are super easy from what I've seen. This mango has sprouted. I have some mamey that I planted. They haven't sprouted yet. These are blood orange seedlings. This right here, if I can zoom in on it, this is a seedling of something called an organ pipe cactus, aka the Mexican pitaya. Look at that little tiny guy. I went through the work of processing the seeds from a fruit, and I have gotten some seedlings to come up. And then there's a little one over there too. So these guys turn into big honkin' organ pipe cactuses, and they're called organ pipe cactus because they resemble the instrument, or so people say. And they just get huge until they fall over, and then, you know, they start growing again from their side. That's how a lot of cactuses operate. And then down here, so I got a lot of tropicals here, as you can see. I also kind of use this space as kind of a security for my seedlings so that they're not dug through by birds or animals. I also have a seedling spot in the garage with like some grow lights and stuff, but this is my outdoor area that's got some security. So I want to, it is my intent to do a lot more with milkweed, because if you haven't heard, the monarch butterfly has been changed to endangered. So I want to do more with milkweed and, you know, do what I can for him. So this is just a couple flats that are seed trays that I've sown for milkweed, and, you know, get the process started. But anyway, this is my greenhouse. Some dead stuff, some live stuff, some stuff I'm learning from. I am very happy with the way this got set up. Oh, but I'm burying the lead here. You might have wondered, why in the world did you put this greenhouse in the, like, hallway, or rather the side of the house where you can't get past it unless you unzip it? So the reason I did this is because I wanted to get this vent right here from the dryer. So I am harvesting the waste heat and moisture that comes out of this vent when the dryer runs. And this, I've already seen this be really beneficial for the tropicals here, and this is going to be great for when they try to survive the winter because when the dryer runs, it's just pumping heat and moisture into this greenhouse and being trapped. So that was the master plan of having this greenhouse here on the side next to the house. If it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't have put it here in the way and making this area impassable. But I am very happy with the way this greenhouse turned out, and also the fact that this ridiculous idea with the vent worked out so well, because if I come out here while it's running, this whole thing is just full of moisture, and this humidity meter spikes to like 85, so it matches a more tropical region. Like if you were in the tropics, you would have your temperature and humidity would be much more similar. Like you might have 85 humidity and 85 on the temperature, and when the dryer is running, those pretty much line up, and it's really neat to see this ridiculous idea of mine work in practice. So it's created an opportunity to experiment with these hybrid tropicals. So I really like that. So feel free to take that idea. I am sure I'm not the first person to think about it. Other people will do geothermal to harvest the waste heat for a greenhouse in that way. But this is just another way to harvest heat from an energy source for a greenhouse that has really worked out. So yeah, that's the greenhouse.